To prepare your chicken for the ballotine of chicken, you need to have whole chicken legs. So we need the drumstick and the thigh, and we're going to start with the drumstick end first. So when this is finished, we should be able to see part of the drumstick. So about 4 centimetres from the end of your chicken drumstick, you need to get a sharp knife and cut all the way around the drumstick, and then we are going to clean. So go all the way around. You can hear the knife, you should be able to hear the knife against the bone, and then we're going to scrape up, and you can see there are some tendons here which we need to get rid of. So any tendons that you can see, just cut those through. Those are going to come out, and we're going to scrape up and leave ourselves with a nice clean bone. As I say, any tendons, cut them through. So scrape that up so you have a nice clean bone. All of this is not needed, so if we can get rid of that, it would be really good. So I'm just using a piece of kitchen roll and just twisting that so that it comes off nice and easily. And then I'm left with this bone end, and this is not going to look particularly, this bit's not going to look particularly attractive when this is cooked. So the way that we get rid of this end, you put your sharp knife, excuse me, I just want to wipe my hand before I pick up the rolling pin. So you put your sharp knife just across the bone, and I'm going to have to put it in my left hand, and then we're going to cut the bone. So the easiest way to do that is to get a rolling pin and to hit your knife, there we go, and cut through the bone so that you are left hopefully with a nice neat bone at this end. And the chicken is going to cook down, and the bone you will be able to lift and use that to serve. So we've dealt with the bone in the drumstick, and now we need to deal with the bone in the thigh. So we've boned out chicken thighs before. You know to place it skin side down with the bone facing you, and then again with the tip of a sharp knife you need to cut down as close to that bone as you can. So try and leave as much of the chicken meat and the chicken thigh on here as possible. Just cut down, cut around, and when you've got it loosened, put your fingers underneath, slide your knife underneath, cut away from you, and just loosen the thigh bone. Now at the moment the thigh is connected to the drumstick, and if you look at this you can actually look and see and feel where that joint is. So the joint is there, and with your fingers you should be able to feel, if you move that bone, you should be able to feel in between where that joint is, and we just need to loosen that. So again, cut through the tendons that are actually holding that bone in place, cut round, and we wish to just pull the thigh bone out of this chicken. So I've loosened that enough, and to be honest, I think I can just twist that now. So I can twist that, and I've got the thigh bone out of the chicken. Remember, if you're doing this for your exam, we want to see the thigh bones on your board to see how much meat is there. But I now have a partly deboned chicken thigh. So I'm just going to wash my hands, and then I will show you how to fill. I've prepared 2 chicken legs ready, and I've just got a normal size sausage, not a chipolata, and we're going to use this for the stuffing. On your recipe it does say, if you wish to, you can also saute a few mushrooms for the stuffing. If you're going to put mushrooms into the stuffing of your chicken legs, I'm just skinning these sausages because I don't want to put the skins inside as well, then what you would do is open your chicken thigh up and put a line or a few of the mushrooms down into the cavity first. So your mushrooms would go into the cavity first, and then you add the sausage into there. So it's basically a chicken leg which has been stuffed with sausage or sausage and mushrooms. You can make your own stuffings for this if you wish to, and then we just fold the skin back around as if the bone had not been removed. So just fold the chicken up, fold the chicken skin over as if the bone had not been removed. So we've stuffed the chicken legs. Okay, when you've got your chicken legs stuffed, the last stage of this first bit before they go to be cooked is to wrap the chicken in bacon. So your chicken then gets wrapped in bacon as well, so that when it's cooked it's going to look nice. So we want some streaky bacon, and you need about 150 grams, which is half this pack. So I'm going to take 3 slices of streaky bacon out of my packet, and I'm just going to put the first one down on the foil. And this bit is a little bit fiddly, but what we need to do is start at the top around your chicken and wrap the chicken up in the streaky bacon, and hopefully there'll be enough streaky bacon to cover the chicken and get down to the bottom. So that's one piece, second piece, and this will help hold your stuffing in place whilst this cooks as well. So there's the second piece wrapped round, and then the third piece is going to be wrapped round as well. So 3 pieces of bacon per chicken leg should be fine. You can use pancetta, but streaky bacon is cheaper. So there we go, I've got my chicken wrapped up in bacon and sitting on a piece of foil, and I'll do the same to the second chicken leg as well. But what we need to do now is wrap this up so it forms a nice cylinder. So to start off with, we are going to cook the chicken leg in the foil, remembering that that end has got the bone in, so I don't want to pierce the foil, but I've made a little parcel like that with my chicken. So when I have 2 parcels like that, I'm going to pop them onto a baking tray, and they're going into the oven on 200 if it's a fan oven, gas mark 7, for just 15 minutes. So they're going in for 15 minutes, and I'm going to turn them once. So I'm going to give them 10 minutes and then I'm going to turn them over. So I'm going to start them with the foil side down. After 10 minutes I'll turn them over, and then I need to turn the oven down. So they get 15 minutes on 200 gas mark 7, and then they get another 30 minutes turned down to 160, fan 160, gas mark 4, to make sure that the chicken leg is cooked all the way through as we've stuffed it. Okay, the chicken has been cooked and it's had its 40 minutes, and when you open it up there'll be quite a lot of juice in there which you need to keep. And you need to melt your butter and a little bit of oil in a frying pan, and you use a combination of butter and oil because the oil helps to stop the butter from burning. But the last bit of this, we just give it 10 minutes to rest, but the last bit of this is to make sure that the outside of the chicken is nicely browned and it looks a bit more attractive than when you slice it. So we're just going to brown it off a little bit. Okay, so the butter is melted and this is starting to foam. So I'm just going to pick up one of the bits of chicken. There we go. Pop that into the pan. I'm just going to tip all the remaining juices into that pan because I want to keep them, and then I'm going to add the second one as well. So I've done two, and I'm just going to pop them into that pan, and I'm using tongs because it's easier to keep them together. You need to keep the juices, because there's quite a lot of juice come out of those, for later to make a sauce and to help glaze them. If you haven't got your chicken out of the oven on time this much at school, then you can just take them home still wrapped up in the foil, but there is going to be some juice that comes out of the foil. So we can hear that these are starting to bubble. I don't want them to burn, but I do want them to be a little bit more brown. So I'm just going to keep an eye on them, turn them over every so often, until I have managed to get them nicely browned on the outside. So it will take a little while, and the important thing is not to burn the butter. So that one is starting to brown, this one isn't yet. So if I turn that one over, you can see it's starting to get a little bit of colour there, but I'd like a little bit more colour on it. And the advantage of using tongs is that you can hold them. If they're going to roll over, you can actually hold them in place with your tong to try and get a bit more colour onto them. So the bacon on the outside is starting to brown on both of them. I've kept turning them and it's now nice and evenly browned all over. So before I serve this, I'm just going to take one of these and just turn it over in the juices from the pan to help give it a nice sheen. So you can see where I've rolled that over in the juices, it's got a nice colour, so it's got a nice glaze to it. That goes onto your plate, and you would then need to cut this to actually show that it had been stuffed. So I would, about there is where the drumstick is going to end, so you can do just 3 good slices through. If you make your slices too thick, not only will they be cold, but also you won't be able to see that you've got bacon, chicken and sausage in there. Mushrooms would be shown as well. You can serve this with potatoes. You could serve it on polenta. If I was serving it on something like polenta, you can stand that end up. You can arrange your 3 slices on top of each other so that we can see, but you need to try and make this look attractive on the plate so that we can actually see bacon, chicken and sausage in each of the 3 slices. So you could, as I say, this plate's too big for this, but you could serve it with vegetables. You can stand this up. Remember not to slice it all, because you've still got the bone in, and we've still got the bones in the chicken drumstick.